a kú dédé àsìkò yìí o gbogbo ẹ̀yin lè fẹ́ wa káàkiri àgbáláyé pátá ojú tẹ̀ fún wa ò ní fọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ etí tẹ̀ fún gbà wá ò ní di o láṣẹ Èdùmàrè àwa láwọn máa wá ẹ̀yin náà láwọn máa bá. tó àtúpalẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ mi lẹ́nìí ni pé àwọn ẹgbẹ́ kan tá a mọ̀ sí Ilana Omo Odua tí bàbá wa Professor Banji Akintoye tí wọ́n jẹ́ ààrẹ wọn àwọn ni wọ́n sọ pé látẹ̀ní lọ o àwọn ò fi bàbá Banji Akintoye sípò ààrẹ mọ́ wọn làwọn sáàkì wọn pé kọ́ lọ rọ́kúnlé ṣùgbọ́n ìgbà tí mo rí ròyìn yìí ó bà mí nínú jẹ́ púpọ̀ ó sì dá mi lójú pé gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátá lọ̀rọ̀ yìí bà nínú jẹ́ torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa àmọ̀ṣẹ́ takuntakun tí bàbá yìí ń ṣe lórí kọ́mọ Yorùbá lè bá dá dúró ẹ jẹ́ ká wá ẹ̀já tìbí wò ó níbo la ti bá dé báyìí o ta ti ń bára wa jà níbo la ti bá dé báyìí o ta ti ń dẹgbẹ́rú mọ́ra wa lórí Yorùbá nation àti ìgbà àti ń jà Yorùbá nation àti ìgbà àti ń dìtẹ̀ ara wa àti ìdépò tá a fẹ́ àti ń bínú ara wa ẹ̀rí pó lágbára púpọ̀ kí ni ẹ̀sùn tó fi kan bàbá yìí ni pé wọ́n náà ń fura pé bàbá bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé àwọn owó kan táwọn tó wà lábẹ́ wọn tí wọ́n ṣe mákùmákùn bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n náà tún fura sí bàbá pé ó ṣeé ṣe kí bàbá padà darapọ̀ máwọn ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú kan àwọn ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ o ṣùgbọ́n èèyàn lè máa ro nǹkan síyàn kọ́ máa ṣe nǹkan ọ̀hún ìbá ní ẹja fi sùúrù sí gbogbo nǹkan tá a jọ tí gbogbo tàbí bá fẹ́ ṣe kò yẹ ká máa ṣe báyìí nígbà táwa tá à ń jà fún òmìnira Yorùbá táwa ń bára wa jà kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ rárá kì í sì rú àsìkò yìí rárá àwa ń jà ń bí orí Sunday Igboho ó wà nínú àhámọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ olóyè Sunday Igboho òun ló sì gbé ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation yìí sórí ẹni tó gbọ́rọ̀ yìí sórí òun wà nínú àhámọ́ àwa tá wà nínú ilé wa pẹ̀lú ìyàwó àtàwọn ọmọ tiwa àwa là ń bára wa jà ṣé nǹkan tó kàn fún wa lélẹ́yìí àbí bí Ọlọ́run ó ṣe yọ olóyè Sunday Igboho nínú àhámọ́ tó wà ẹ má jẹ́ ń tàn wá o ó yẹ ká mọ ohun tá à ń ṣe o ó yẹ ká mọ ohun tá à ń ṣe ẹ jẹ́ ká ń sọ lókè báyìí ká lọ gbọ́ ohun tí àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Ilana Omo Odua sọ nípa bí wọ́n ṣe yọ bàbá àtẹ̀sùn tó fi kan bàbá ní bàbá Professor Banji Akintoye ẹ jẹ́ à ń sọ lókè báyìí.
Body of Ilana Omo Odua, Homeland and Diaspora, today, Thursday, 18th November 2021. All protocols observed. Today is one of the saddest days of my life, that I will be standing before the international community to announce the separation of the main body of Ilana Omo Odua from its alano, Professor Banji Akintoye, is unbelievable, but unfortunately true. This is because at the end of the day, no single individual is greater than its nation. We have been in this struggle to have a nation of our own, along with other nations entrapped in one Nigeria since year 2000. We started as PRONACO, became NNN, that is Movement for No Nigeria, and finally, when our alliance protocols were in place, became NINAS, Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance, on December 11, 2018 at Freedom Park, Lagos. We came into contact with Professor Akintoye just before the Freedom Park proclamation, and we felt he would be a worthy leader for us, as he had been a history professor in America for 25 years. Even though he had served as a senator before traveling abroad, we believed he had been purged of all Nigerian political yearnings. He took us to Pa Ayo Adebanjo, who also approved of our blueprints to liberate the trapped nations of one Nigeria. However, at that time, we didn't know that in the SMB forum, that is the South and Middle Belt forum, they had already endorsed Alhaji Atiku for president. believing that he would at least restructure the country. It was Professor Akintoye who saw through Atiku that it will be business as usual with just cosmetic changes that will not really affect the lives of the average Nigerian. He then got in touch with us again in 2019, and we started working on the NINA's constitutional force majeure blueprint together. Even though by that time we had done the 2018 Freedom Park Proclamation, the memo to the President, and taking our case to the international community, particularly USA and UN. To his credit, he provided great leadership, for which we will be forever grateful. But unknown to us, somewhere along the line, he went back to his first love, politics, and politics played the one Nigerian way. This started to manifest as a desire to be the father of all Yoruba self-determination groups, which included those hedging their bets, those out to line their pockets, outright politicians out to use Ilana as a political structure, and most dangerous of all, political jobbers out to destroy Ilana at the behest of the Fulani cabal. It was a long and arduous process to gain international recognition. One of the undertakings is not to get involved in Nigerian politics. International partners started asking questions. We spoke to Professor Akintoye to no avail that all these people were just out to leverage on his goodwill and his desire to see all Yorubas united. We were forced to start the onerous process of disowning all these groups one by one. Global Directorate, Strategic Alliance, G8, Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, Voice of Reason, etc. All of them seeking to, at best, subsume Ilana or working for one Nigeria. Even IPOB, when they saw what was going on, tried to muscle in on Ilana, particularly during our rallies, both on the homeland and at the United Nations General Assembly. Not unexpectedly, around this time, allegations, accusations, and counter-accusations of monies being paid to Professor Akintoye, either directly or through proxies, started to surface. As loyal lieutenants, we started by defending him, but the avalanche of accusations got to a stage that we had to adopt the strategy of least said, soonest mended. We already knew that we were in dire straits, with allegations of financial malfeasance chipping at Professor Akintoye's integrity. Ilana's structure under bombardment. We started warning Prof that we cannot allow him to endanger the struggle for a Yoruba nation. But Professor Akintoye wouldn't listen. He instead started telling us that he installed us and can remove us. Meanwhile, when we mutated from YWC to Ilana, the 7 EXCO members who moved with him, including myself, extracted an agreement from him that the 7 would continue to operate as his cabinet till Ilana was firmly rooted. Prof broke the agreement and started to bring in people with no knowledge of or commitments to the struggle. In the midst of all these problems, the subtle queries from our international partners and our UN affiliates continued. The queries were along the lines of, are you sure your leader is not working with the Nigerian politicians? They reminded us that Ilana must be apolitical and a chivalrous. All these we reported to Professor Akintoye. So we were already on the brink of the precipice when this straw that broke the camel's back manifested. On the morning of Friday, the 6th of August 2021, I got a call from Dr. Gbenga Adeyeye, the South African coordinator, that Professor Akintoye was about to remove Shola Salako, our diaspora coordinator. I asked why. He claimed he did not know, but that all he knows is that if Prof tries it, he won't be able to contain the backlash, as 80% of the diaspora will stand with Shola Salako. He asked me to do something about it, and I agreed, and said I will call Prof. Before I could call Prof, a call came in from Bolaniwa Oladimeji, the German coordinator. He more or less said the same thing as Dr. Gbenga Adeyeye. On asking his advice on the way forward, Olaniwola Dimeji suggested that we split Shola Salako's portfolio into two, giving Dr. Adeyeye the job of coordinating the diaspora, while Shola Salako retains the diplomatic side of the role. I told him to let me think it through and call him back. I thought it through and realized that whatever was at the root of this problem, these two coordinators and maybe a few others had met and decided on a solution that suited them. Now, my main concern was not to derail our struggle for freedom. Meanwhile, Shola Salako's main value to the cause was her ability to deal on our behalf with UNPO, ONIFA, EU, UN, etc. At the same time, you cannot afford a diaspora crisis. So I bought into the idea. I called Prof to give me a few hours to wade into the issue before he makes his announcement. He agreed. I then called Shola and told her everything. She initially said she was leaving, but I made her realize that the struggle comes first. She should remember her years of hard work and commitment. She agreed to the separation of powers. I called Dr. Adeyeye and he agreed to become the diaspora administrator. I also called Olaniwola Dimeji and he was happy with the solution. I called Prof and he also accepted the separation of powers. We had peace for a few weeks, and the problem reared its head up again, culminating in the political situation applied by Professor Akintoye to the English chapter, Akin Wilson and Shola Salako. For the sake of clarity, Shola Salako remains our diaspora lead as international secretary, and those who are for the Yoruba struggle will continue to work with her and her team. Ilana is a self-determination organization, nothing else. It cannot be turned into a political group, as this will set the struggle back at least 20 years. And who knows when next the Yoruba will get another golden opportunity for freedom. Like I stated earlier, we cannot jeopardize the struggle for our freedom. We are midstream and millions of lives are at stake. The NINAS project affects the whole of the Alliance territory. Ilana is a key driver of the NINAS blueprint in Yoruba land. It has also been so documented at the United Nations. NINAS has gone beyond being the project of one or two persons. It is now a movement that has developed a life of its own and will continue no matter who falls by the wayside. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot allow Professor Banji Akintoye to truncate the dreams of millions of people. So as of today, 18th November 2021, Ilana Omo Odua is stepping aside from Professor Banji Akintoye, freeing him to become the father and supreme commander of the amalgamated self-determination groups. Thank you all for your time and attention. Sincerely, Otumba Shade Olukoya, on behalf of Ilana Omo Odua, 18th November 2020. 2021, sorry. Taking you back one more year. Okay, so that's it. It's very short and I hope to the point. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Wait, why is the other microphone? No, there's another one.
Why is it?
Good afternoon once again. My fear is if they are able to manage a small group like this, what is going to happen to Yoruba nation?
If you are able to manage a small group,
We have crisis.
which is a small group?
What I'm saying is the Ilano. Okay, let me put it like this: Ilano.
Ilana is not a small group.
It's not a small group.
Ilana itself is a big group. Ilana itself is a big group. And under Ilana, we have 120 self-determination groups working with us. So it's not a small group.
It's the biggest.
That's why we are the largest of the self-determination groups. Some of these people that I mentioned, that I said Baba was romancing, some of them were only 6 different people, 6 family members, and they formed themselves into a group. So it's not a small group. And we have a large following, and we have made a lot of inroad into this self-determination, not only in Yoruba land, even outside Yoruba land. And that's why I said that millions of lives are at stake. They cannot afford it.
Is there any way you can? Is there no way you can find a way around this and resolve this?
What do you mean by finding a way around this?
That is, instead of allowing this to Professor Akintoye to go, maybe you walk your way around this.
They have different ideology. That's what they are saying now. It's a good weakness. Baba has one weakness. He wants Yorubas united, but it's not possible. Yorubas are too enlightened, too educated for all of them to go in one direction. Even when Awolowo, who did a lot of wonders for us in Western Nigeria, was there, we didn't all face the same direction. If he had faced the same direction, UPN would have been the only, AG would have been the only party in existence. So it's not possible. But at least when you are leading a group that says they are fighting for liberation, you don't go about hobnobbing with people who are obviously fighting for one Nigeria, to keep Nigeria one. Because one Nigeria, let me explain to you, it's not the same Nigeria that our fathers went to negotiate in Lancaster House. In Lancaster House, they negotiated for Nigeria, a federal country, where each one had its own constitution, its own ambassadors abroad. They had their own regional laws and all that. So what you can go to prison for in Yoruba land, you may not go to prison for it in the east or in the middle belt. So everybody was more or less independent, but contributing to keeping it to the center. Gradually after the war, without we being able to notice it, things got to a stage where little by little the military commandeered everything and turned us into a military state. Now we don't have anything. In fact, that constitution does not even owe us anything. As we are now, if Buhari decides to kill 1,000 people today, he owes us no explanation. It's in the constitution. He has immunity. Your governor has immunity. Your president has it. You cannot do anything, and they will not resign. No matter how much you scream, you shout, they won't do anything. So that's why it's a bit difficult. It's not the same Nigeria. So anybody that is still rooting for one Nigeria, still rooting to keep Nigeria one, cannot be on the same page with a group that wants total freedom from Nigeria, where we want to control our own affairs, have access to our wealth, and manage it ourselves. These people are spending our money. They are spending money from the ports. They are spending VAT money. They are spending oil and gas money. They spent coal money when it was there. When they didn't want it anymore, they ruined it for them. So that is the problem. We are not on the same page at all. So we cannot work together. And we've explained to Baba several times. Now, these people, he thinks maybe if he pulls them close, maybe they will change. I said they cannot change. They are in this of it. And definitely there is nothing they can make out of one. People who are making money from one Nigeria cannot make money from the Yoruba nation. Because as soon as Yoruba nation is formed, a lot of things are going to change. A lot of things are immediately. They themselves know that but once there is Yoruba nation, there are certain things they dare not do. Once there is Igbo nation, there are certain things they cannot do in Igbo and they are getting away with it. There are certain things they cannot do amongst the team and get away with it. And so that's why they don't want it. So that's why it's difficult to resolve. That's why it's difficult to root for us to have a consideration. As I said, we've been at it for quite some time. We have been at this now for quite some time, trying to get Baba to see. You can see the number of groups we mentioned that we had to start disowning them to get them out of the way. They were leveraging on Baba, trying to get into his heart, trying to make him accept them, and in accepting them, if Baba accept them, we will accept them too. But it's not possible. We are not on the same page.
Any other question? Yes, okay. You'll do that. Tell us where you're from. And your name and your name.
He didn't tell us which
good afternoon. My name is Bola Badmus. I'm from Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Please, from the last paragraph, I want to let me read it out. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot allow Professor Banji Akintoye to truncate the dreams of millions of people. So, as of today, 18th November 2021, Ilana Omo Odua is stepping aside from Professor Banji Akintoye, freeing him to become the father and supreme commander of the amalgamated self-determination post. So I want to believe that what you are trying to say there, that Professor Banji Akintoye has been sacked, I mean, from being the leader of Ilana Omo Odua.
Relieved. He's been relieved.
Or being relieved of his...
No, not even that he has been relieved. It's like I told you, we are stepping aside from him. He's still there. Look, all Yorubas, once you are a Yoruba person, you are free to fight for Yoruba freedom, for Yoruba nation, in whatever way you understand. But the way Baba wants to fight is not the way, because the people he has collected around him are pulling him back. He doesn't realize it. Till they all fall into a ditch, that's when Baba is going to realize they were a mistake. We cannot afford that time. We cannot afford that happening to us, because like I said, too many lives are dependent on what Ilana is doing. You know, we are in the forefront of this self-determination struggle. We are in the forefront. We are driving NINAS. NINAS is that amalgamation of all the nations in Nigeria who want to be free. Baba is actually the chairman of NINAS. So we don't know how he plans to do it, because NINAS is leading, Ilana is leading NINAS. He's the chairman of NINAS. He's also the Alan of, used to be the Alan of Ilana Omo. So how can you, under this, and the NINAS blueprint is total freedom for every ethnic nation in Nigeria that wants it. So how does that now fit into moving with Yoruba self-determination movement now, that wants to make him supreme commander, that they've already started forming a government in exile. They have prime minister. They don't even know what government we have, what form of government we are going to have. Whether we are going to have the presidential, whether it's the prime minister, the parliamentary, they don't know. People are already jostling for positions. They are actually bribing for governorship slots.
Imagine.
The people are paying.
So you are telling Baba to start leading the self-determination group and leaving Ilana.
Yes, it should leave us alone.
Now, who is leading Ilana now? Who is leading Ilana?
It will come.
We don't have a leader yet.
Oh, there is a vice chairman.
I'm the vice chairman, but I cannot call myself a leader. I can operate in a limited capacity for a limited time till the majority of the Ilana people come together to pick
whoever they want.
But the organization is intact.
It's intact.
We are still working, and because luckily for us at this time, why we are so lucky at this time this thing takes place is that from now till maybe 2023, what we are mostly doing is a NINAS blueprint. That is the 5 demands of NINAS. We've gone through 1, 2, 3. We are now on the 3rd one, which is pulling down the constitution and going into transition. So that is not, we don't really need any visible leader for that. But once we are following that blueprint, that's what I'm saying, that it has developed a life of its own. Everybody has seen the routes to freedom, and they are all organizing themselves, organizing their constitution, their charter of relationships, their maps, their culture, their language. Those are all the things you need to become a nation. Even if you're only 400,000, if you're not up to a million, you can become a nation. Once you have a common language, you have a map to delineate your territory, you have a constitution. Once you have one, about 5 or 6 things, all is well. So that's what we are planning on now. We are at that stage where if you can get the constitution down and go and enter transition, then you can go for referendum. That will be done by the United Nations. Not that we cannot do referendum here ourselves. We can, but it will not be enforceable. The only one that will be enforceable is the one that is done by the United Nations. That's all.
And I received a message. I don't know whether other colleagues of mine also received such a message. Baba, through his spokesperson, Maxwell Adele, said those of you who wanted to address a press conference this time around in Ikeja, that you have been bought over by the government. Is react.
That's what you expect him to say. He's fighting back now. People fight back when they see that there is a problem ahead for them. Do we look like people who have been? Do I look like I have dollars and naira in my hand? And everybody that knows me, ask about me. I don't know. ask him as all of us, but ask me that I'm his vice. That how many people in Abuja why I don't even talk to them. And it's not as if I don't know them, because we are not on the same page, and we know that everything they are doing does not make me happy. So we are at cross purposes. From the vice president down.
Who is
like a junior brother to me. We are all at cross purposes. All of them. All
cross their purposes.
Yes, we are 60s and 70s. You know, call it that they are 60s and 70s. They all know that which one of them will come and tell me to take. How will they even come and talk to me to tell me to take money for what? They know now. I don't even take money for them to eat. And not to talk of now, we now take money for the whole Yoruba nation. I knew how this country was when I was growing up. I grew up in this country before I went to England. So I think I went to England at age 7 or 8. And I knew what was on ground. And when I came back, I still met a good relation. Till I left university, Nigeria was good. And I left university in 1974. So we can just imagine, but even though that time it was already going down, but it was still a livable place. We could live in it, do everything. They will still talk to you. When Governor Rotimi wanted to reduce our, what do you call those things we used to eat in the university, our feeding allowance, he actually called a meeting for us. He asked them to send him students representative so that he could explain to us. Tell me which governor will explain to you now. If they don't even pay your scholarship, even your scholarship as to them, they don't even bother to explain to you. That man called us to a meeting and explained why that this thing had to be done. And we were now the ones who took his message to the University of Ibadan and other universities to go and explain to them that this is what happened. So that's the kind of country I grew up in. Not this one where people do what they like. You don't even see them. You don't even see them.
Okay. Question?
Please ask your questions now, because as you can see, that I have started to fight back. So if there's anything you want to find out between me and between us here and what he has written down, we are here to answer you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kende from the Guardian newspaper. Ma, from what you read from this paper now, what I understand from it is that Baba and Ilana Omo Odua, they are no longer together because the vision does not align anymore. Then number 2, what Ilana Omo Odua stands for is that they want to liberate from one Nigeria, while Baba is trying to bring Nigeria together. So you cannot. That is
can't work together.
Right. Thank you very much.
And then because you are a twin, you have double intelligence.
Thank you, ma'am. And so you also mentioned some financial aspects where some people are taking money on behalf of Baba directly or indirectly. So, and it is affecting the name of the Ilana Omo Odua. Thank you.
As you can say, I have no proof, but there are allegations. And when allegations start to fly around like that, it becomes a problem. And it has now affecting us in the sense that when we now need help, you have heard that Ilana is taking money, Ilana and their principal is taking money. If we ask you to give us 10 million, now will you give us? You won't give us. I said they just go and spend your money. Of course. And then it ruins our integrity. But we have no proof. Because people say, but and we have asked Baba has not responded. Yes, Mr.
I want a clarification. Please, I want a clarification. I want a clarification on this issue, the Ilana Omo Odua. Is it Ilana Omo Odua? Is it a different from me? Yes. What is the difference?
The difference is that Ilana is the difference is that Ilana is a Yoruba group. It's a Yoruba self-determination group. Only Yorubas belong to it. Ninas is a conglomeration of Yorubas, Igbos, Midwest, Delta, Chief, Benue, Taraba, all the states, all the places they call themselves Lower Niger Territory now. That is including Akwa Ibom, you know that. Yeah, it is what is what we call mean as a job. We decided to work together because you see, when you have a country where the constitution is so total, it gives the government full powers over you. If you, as Yoruba, decide you are going out, they will criminalize you. They will say you are a criminal, they call you secessionist, separatist. They won't call it self-determination, which is actually a legal right that the United Nations gave to all nations. This one that was that killed people yesterday, was it 2 days ago in Cameroon, Ambazonia, they were also part of this self-determination group, but they kicked them out because they got involved in violence. That's why we said we cannot do violence and we cannot do politically. And in this country, there's no way you can do politically without entering violence. You can see that all our governors, all our senators, all of them, they all have enforcement thugs. They call it enforcers now, but they are actually they are no better than thugs, and that leads to violence, which we are not supposed to do. So they've been kicked out of the self-determination cover now, and Amazonia. So this is how we operate, and that is the way it should be. You understand? All of us together, we now decided that instead of one person doing it alone, let us all get together. It took us a long time to get everybody together. It took us a very long time because we had to go around, talk to them. You know, there were suspicions. Igbos will say, Yoruba, oh my God. And at the last minute, they will withdraw. Yoruba said the same thing about Igbos. At the last minute, they are going to join Abuja and fight you. All the smaller groups amongst them, Akwa Ibom, they said Igbos have been oppressing them for a long time. You know, numerically, the Igbos are the largest in the East. So they said they've been oppressing them for quite some time. So it took time for us to be able to convince them that it is not true. That all these things were the lies of the federal government, divide and rule. They are creating one state now. This is one state now. They will take half of this state, join it to one place, take half of this state, the same state, join it to another. You know, they have divided you already. Like in Kwara, there's a whole local government in Kwara, they call Ekiti local government. It should be part of Ekiti state. But Ekiti needed, Kwara needed the land, so they took it. Those people now, if you tell them they are not Kwara, then they should go back to Ekiti and maybe looking for trouble. You know, just like Lagos now. Lagos has nothing. Ekpe, Agbowa, Ikorodu, they all belong to Old West. You know, they are Ijebus. Even Badagry is Ogun State. But they took all of it from there and made them into Lagos. Now they feel proud that they are Lagos. Whereas they were all part of Southwest before. So that's what they did. And that's why we had to all come together under name, as we gave ourselves that name. That in 2018, you can imagine something that started in the year 2000. It took us 18 years to get to the point where we all agreed to work together. So that, because now, who will they fight? Is it the whole bulk of the middle belt, the east and the southwest? They will start firing, and they can't. We've made that point. The United Nations knows we are in this problem, and they are fighting it. Does that answer your question?
Any other question?
Cameraman.
But you didn't camera anything.
Yes, indeed. That's why you can't do the camera that time. So nobody else has any questions? Because Baba has answered before we even did the press conference. So if you really have anything, don't feel I'm ready to answer any question. Because we didn't tell any lies against him.
If I might read a question from comments going on the screen here, there's a lot of allegation that one, they don't know you, and secondly, you are working for the government.
I don't know, I accept that they may not know me.
Is it in lower thing now?
I accept that they may not know me. Not everybody knows me. Who asked the question?
Oh, I don't know. It's from the crowd.
It's possible they may not know me. Not everybody can know me. But I am not working for the government. As I've said, I'm not friends with the government at all.
Let him go. Let him go. Or go to the toilet.
You have people.
Don't enter toilet now.
I don't know why people assume government pays you all the time. maybe it's what they are doing. Maybe government has paid them. So they assume government is paying us too. Government has not paid me. And as I said, from Oshibanjo down, there's none of them that I'm friends with. So, no, none of them.
They are asking if Baba is still in Ninas.
Well, yes, he's still in Ninas. Until he decides he's not following our blueprint anymore.
Okay. All right. Basically, most of the questions here are majorly emotions.
Emotions.
Yeah.
And give us an example.
There's a lot here. Okay, some have accused this as a betrayal. Some have said it's a government-sponsored movement, and a lot have said this is a fake, that is not validated, that this is not a valid set of people. And then someone here says that Baba Akintoye brought you guys into the struggle and now you want to edge him out. I would really like you to address that.
He brought us into the struggle.
Yes.
That's not true.
Yeah, repeat what you said.
I told you that we've been at this thing since year 2000. I met Prof year 2018. I didn't even know the man existed from Adam. You know, it was one of my older colleagues from Shagamu, Olorogun at Papa Banjo, who took me there. There was a meeting in his house. He just said, Otoba, let's go. They said there's a meeting in this person's house. Let's see what they are going there to say. I said, Baba, you started again. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. He said, let us go. And he went. And something just told me from my gut that this man can help us. So I called him. I said I wanted to see him. And then he said that I should come. You know, he has a nice attitude, especially when you are Yoruba. He wants all Yorubas together under his roof if it is possible. So I went to see him. And I now told him that we have a project. We have this project we want to do. We have this blueprint we are trying to do, and we need a leader, somebody to be the face of the struggle. And that I have a colleague that we've been at it together, that his name is Tony Naji. He says he knows his head about Tony Naji. I said to him, I will bring him, we will come together. That was how we went to see Baba and introduced him. And I can tell you, the first time, he was the one who told us that we should forget about them, that they will not be able to help us as of that time because they had already endorsed Atiku. To now go back and tell Atiku that he cannot do election, how did they tell him? So I said, thank you, sir. And we went away and we continued our work. He called me back himself in 2019. By that time, he had seen through Atiku. He knew Atiku could not deliver. That even the restructuring he promised is not going to come. That he cannot do anything. A Fulani will always be a Fulani. It is the agenda that will always come first. So he called me back himself. I said, share a mama. He calls me mama, share a binu. I want to bed. I will come. So to worry with the Lord, And as I said, we started again. So how can somebody that I started working with in 2019, 2018 be the one that got me to the store?
So the existing 2000.
Okay, thanks for that answer, man. There's another one here that I think needs clarity. How has this happening now? How will it help the agitation? How will it help the movement, the Yoruba nation?
It will help the Yoruba nation because all the questions, all the doubts people have had about the integrity of the members will be doused. You know, most of them feel that we are collecting money. Some people are making money, but you'll be surprised that most of them are not Ilana. They may do it in the name of Ilana, but when they tell me, oh, so lawyer did this, or so this one did that, I check, they are not Ilana members, but they are Yorubas. You understand? They are Yorubas. Everybody is trying to line their pockets, make what they can. And Baba is encouraging them. And there was a time he told everybody to be paying into the account opened by Global Directorate. So we all kicked against it, that's why. So those are the things that will now stop with what we have done now. It's like we are restructuring Ilana, refocusing it. That is a self-determination group, nothing more. If you want to help, you are welcome. If you don't want to help, it will not stop the birth of the Yoruba nation. You know how many of us gave Awolowo money when they were fighting in Lancaster House? But the day he announced the birth of Nigeria, who said, who went out to say I'm not part of Nigeria, or I don't want Nigeria? Everybody celebrated. And by God's grace, that's how everybody is going to celebrate the birth of the Yoruba nation and other nations in Nigeria. No matter, we will wait for the person that says he's not part of it. We will ask him to go and do video. And say it.
Of course.
Okay, so I guess in the absence of any more questions, that's it. You have one. Okay.
Okay.
My name is Shebolo from Alari.
Okay.
Sorry, take that again.
Take microphone.
Good afternoon. My name is Shebolo from Alari. Though I've been around for like almost like 30 minutes ago. Been waiting outside trying to get in touch. Ní kékeré ní kúkúrú ṣe ní bá wa ṣàlàyé gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ sọ ní Yorùbá. Kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bá wa summarize kékeré.
I've already apologized before you came here.
Okay.
That's why
you need to listen to our on his own platform. Even if just 2 minutes.
Because
Okay.
you people just even the message your principal sent me from Nevada. I had to read it about 4 times. It kept me. I should.
A quick summary. Yoruba.
Okay.
Yoruba.
So he's going to give us only.
Yes, sir.
Let him do it for Come on.
Let me go through. Then I'll
Okay. Just give him 5 minutes to read. You know it's better because I don't want to make a mistake.
Okay.
Take him as a right. Some person going to mix it one English. Ṣé o kí n gbà tí wà yẹn owó gidi la fi lọ school lọ́kọ́ English? Ìwọ tó bá nílé ìgbà yẹn wọ́n máa nù ẹ́ ní pé o ṣe ń sọ Yorùbá. I told you say it in English. So tí wàá mọ̀ wá lára. Not to worry. Àti ìjàyè àti ìṣe lọ. We'll do a good job because I don't even know where to start from. And then you know sometimes Yoruba language is so conk.
Someone says, is it wrong if Baba Akintoye trying to lobby other leaders who are for restructuring?
To do what? To come in for liberation. You can't lobby them. Who are you? Which leaders are you going to restructure? Are you going to lobby? Take the point. Take the the last one. I even forgot to put his name here. Who is from the nation here?
Yeah.
You are. Tinubu. You know his swagger is all about him. When he came back, you know, we felt he would rest, and if he's going to go for politics, he will come to the Yorubas. You know, ọjọ́ owó ló gbé dúró bó ṣe wà bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n ti pátán ní Katsina.
Katsina bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Ọlọ́run ló mọ nǹkan tó ń fẹ́ sí lára. Ìlú bíi mẹ́rin ló lọ. I'm saying it openly. If it's not true, let him deny it. Because we were monitoring him. Pé bàbá yìí ṣé kìí ṣe kán ti fẹ́ gáàsì sí lára báyìí. Tábà tí ẹ máa pa Tinubu kọ́ jẹ́ ká pa fúnra ra wa náà. Ìwọ ni tiwọn láti bá wa pa. Because he's a Yoruba man at the end of the day. Yes. And like Baba himself said, Baba Akintoye, ó ní tó bá dọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lè bí Tinubu pé kí ni tiẹ̀ ṣe jẹ́. Because for 8 years he fought Ọbásanjọ́ to a standstill lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Lagos State. So ẹni tó ti ṣe yẹn, you can never worry pé ńgbà tó face Yorùbá. He was a more successful politician than ńgbà tó move lọ sí Abuja. Tó lóun fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣe lọ. He did better in Lagos. And me personally, you work for him. Tell him that the lady who spoke to him when Kabiyesi turned 50 years on the throne in Kabiyesi's palace in Ijebu, because I live in Ijebu, most of them, sir, it's only about 1 month, according to his official age. He's 1 week, he's March 29, I'm April 5. When he sir, he became Balwe. We are your first line of contact. Our Yoruba. Anything you want, start with us. Convince us. We will stand with you. But the same thing. Opportunity where the house was left open. Anybody could come in at that time. Then I was in Atayeshi Alokimo. By no share APC. When he said this mega party is a fair share. it means a northern president. Ṣé tó fẹ́ gbé Fúlàní lé wa lórí again? Ó ní ká má sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Bóun ṣe máa ṣe nìyẹn, it will work. Mo ní kí ló ṣe fẹ́ work? Èyí tẹ́ ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀ MKO ó wà ní ó máa work bí bóun ṣe tí MKO ní àti ti Kíngibé. Mo ní number one, where is the ṣọ́njẹ́ Abiola débẹ̀? Ìyẹn number one. Number two, mo ní Abiola and Kíngibé, they were Muslim tickets. Nobody is going to accept a Muslim ticket from anybody in Nigeria now. Distrust ti wọn àárín wa, trust ara wa mọ́. Bísọ̀ kó jọ kó má ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ yà àwọn olówó àwọn nǹkan kan ṣe sí. At the end of the day, kò ṣe òun náà ló gbé Buhari káàkiri. Gbogbo àwọn Igbo nǹkan kan gbogbo ló ń bú wa ní sèpá wa Yorùbá la gbé Buhari
wọlé bẹ́ẹ̀.
Káwọn ọkọ àwa Yorùbá ni àwa náà ń blame. Sọ wọ́n ní whatever tójú wa bá rí ń bẹ̀. Káfárá mọ́. Kò lè wọlé. Kanti Sherry. No. Sherry, by the formation of how they vote in Nigeria, if Njoba win Southwest, what president could the presidency? You can't win by just votes from the north and the east. East to the vote in Buhari, like ọtí fèpè lera wọn lórí ndẹ. Ṣé lẹ́yìn nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní the island? It doesn't matter. She knows the truth now. They all know the truth. No, they said they swear. You can never again. You can talk about voting. Northern is looking for. That's why they don't like Soludo. She said one love Soludo, but he's Abga. They would rather Soludo Wale. What she like Juki, Kuba. And then our government dogs. They want to put dogs in government houses. So everybody is in make up mind. Because they vote one on because they will not have a president. So if we had stopped, if Tinubu had behaved as she advised, it would have been good. Listen, I don't feel the president in Nigeria. If he starts from Yoruba land, my change his mind and where of course. But he won't. He's so full of one Nigeria. Nothing out in my belly. That's their problem. So that is the thing. If we are not, I'm not saying that anything is wrong, but Sherry, you have to stand with your people. Stand with your people. But number one, Fulanis will not trust you. Whatever betray you, they will not trust you. They will believe you will betray them too one day. So you gain nothing at the end of the day. Standing with enough against your own people. So that's I don't know what if being upon the question. Your question is very.
That's a down question from the beginning. Okay, so.
Yes.
Okay, you can give us. What was the question?
Question Yakwambi Bayo.
You are doing it for me. I will thank you later.
Yes, ma'am. Looking at the last paragraph. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot allow Professor Akintoye Banji to truncate the dreams of millions of people. So as today, 18 November 2021, Ilana Omo Odua is stepping aside from Professor Banji Akintoye. Pẹ̀lú gbogbo nǹkan tó wà níbí báyìí, ta ni olórí tuntun fún ẹgbẹ́ ọmọ ìlú?
You didn't come early.
Well, the group will decide that, but at least there's a vice chairman.
Okay.
She's the vice chairman. Meanwhile, she runs that place. That's the
Then, ìbéèrè mi kejì. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìlànà tuntun tí ẹgbẹ́ ìṣègbè kalẹ̀. Ìjẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ ń wo ẹnìkan gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹni tí a fẹ́ gbárùkù tì fún election tó bọ̀.
If you come back here again.
No.
Okay, this is what I'm asking.
It's not political. It's not a political something. Constitution.
Okay, bringing down the constitution.
Okay.
And we are going into transition. So what is South Africa for like 3 years? That's the kind of thing we are going to have. We are going to bring down the constitution, but all political actors will stay in place because anarchy now to our day free of charge.
Bí àwọn ẹgbẹ́ Afẹ́nifẹ́re ṣe ń jà fún píkà tuntun ní ẹgbẹ́ Ilana Oodua sọ pé
But if we are very not this way for she too much. You are bad. You are not following news.
No, sir. We are together.
So
and they are still saying
no. Baba has released many messages.
No, we are together last week. They are still saying restructuring.
So they're going up and down. Yeah, I think I go
last week.
That means they're going up and down. Up and down. Yeah, take.
I'm sorry for this.
Thank you very much. My name is Prince Adi Johnson. One of the campaigners for Yoruba Nation. I'm a member of Yoruba Nation now, and I'm also the Lagos State coordinator for Yoruba Nation Christianization. I'm sorry for the cause. Some of the members were calling me. Now, actually, as one of the campaigners for Yoruba Nation, I will confess that I'm not happy what I'm hearing today. And the reason is that we in Yoruba Nation struggle are following looking at Ilana as the umbrella body for all other Yoruba Nation associations, organizations. Yes, that's it. And we'll be looking at Baba as the father of everybody. Actually, I came to know Ilana through Baba because I used to watch him on YouTube and some of the social media. So I've been seeing Mommy too. Anytime you're having meeting, I've been seeing you. And all of us have been giving that respect everywhere. Even when you talk about the media, whether the print media or electronic media or TV, whatever, everybody talk about Baba. And when you talk about Baba, it's like Baba is synonymous with Ilana. That's the way we know it. And I've thought maybe Baba was even the one who started Ilana. I also like was in one group before Yoruba World Congress something. So I've been following all this thing for long. So hearing this today, actually I'm not too happy what I'm hearing because we a lot of us that who have been on the field, I would say that we are on the field. When it comes to Yoruba nationalization, we're on the field. We move around and talk to people. And what some of them have seen us is that when you people are even together like this, there's no form of unity. Yoruba don't come together, they are not in agreement. By the time you don't have Yoruba nation, somebody asked that question, what's going to happen? I think that's what brought somebody asking that question. So I would have loved if it's possible to be a total reconciliation. Is that okay? I don't know, like you said, you've been going through all this before now. I would have loved that situation because we see Baba as a figurehead to all Yoruba nation campaigners. I don't want to call the word agitator because I had one English language recently and say it's not good to call agitators, but rather campaigners. So I would rather say campaigners. So I don't know if that's possible because with what this press conference today, I won't lie to you, it's going to cause a lot of challenges to a lot of people. And after today's press conference, you're going to be seeing a lot of comments all over the places. I'm a social media person, I run KSN Media, and you're going to see a lot of comments will be commenting on the different media today because of this. So is it possible to be a constellation? Because I won't lie to you, we love Baba. We know there's principle in everything, but we love him and we appreciate him. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope we respond to that. I think this one is better. Well, we thank God for how far this vision has gone. And I want you to follow up bear in mind that in life, nobody is indispensable. Start with that premise. Now, if you don't hold that premise, you will lose focus. And a lot of it can be wiped out. Now, mind you, the struggle we are struggling for now is how this Fulani will not kill all of us and take our land. Now, that's the second premise I want to look at. Now, there may be a lot of people want to come together and say, okay, how do we achieve this goal? Let's run, let's do it, let's die. A lot of people are coming with different vision and different ideas. And some of them even have some things they have in their mind, which you don't know. It is as you walk along, you begin to discover, that is where we are now. Unless one wants to go and die, then that reconciliation will work. So if you want us to reconcile and go and die, let's choose. Do we choose that? No. I have to frontal. Do you want us to reconcile and go and die?
No, I thought that's not the...
Or leave Baba alone and be delivered to our promised land?
I want to focus.
So do we go and die or we go to the promised land?
We to get to the promised land.
Okay, then leave Baba alone. Thank you. Very God bless you.
Do we have more questions? Okay.
another question?
Any more questions?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the question. He's waiting.
And some question on the platform. You have some question.
Well, I've not seen any.
Yes, okay, go ahead.
It's not like a question. What I want to say is that me too, I'm a concerned. Don't worry, I'm a very concerned person too. With all these things that is going on in our nation. I mean, no.
Okay, that's fine. But he's covering others.
After all these things, I feel people studied what happened in 1966 because me, I'm a fan of reading. Star Wars roll up. No.
Just voice. It's just voice. People can't hear. They're saying they cannot hear your question. Okay.
So this is a off camera.
All right.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say that I've been reading what happened before 1966 and what happened 1966 and before. I've been reading a lot of mistakes and what happened always. Now, with what is happening in Nigeria, we are going back like I said we are going back something years back again to what we did not solve then. That is what is happening. Then it was the North that started it like this, and the Yorubas were confused. They wanted to stay neutral to maybe at a particular time. Then the Igbos rely on the Yorubas that if the Yorubas stay neutral, the Hausa will not be able to penetrate them. But when the Yorubas now give up the place, the Igbos were ready to their collapse. Then now what I'm going to say is that now, if what is happening in Nigeria now, it is happening, and it is coming down gradually, it is coming down. Now, what I want to say that in all these meetings, have you people from the what happened in 1966 and all that led us to where we are today, have you been able to resolve all these things and map out everywhere so that what happened in 1966 will not happen again? So that one side will not, after everything, one side will not betray another side, will not open way for. Because the struggle there, the Hausa used the Yoruba and the Hausa benefited.
Let me answer your question. It's very simple. What you are talking about one Nigeria. We're not talking about one Nigeria.
We are not talking about one Nigeria.
Okay, so
what I'm saying is that then what the struggle now is like what the same struggle then. You know, then they call the Yoruba to tell them that if people go and we go, that the Hausa will be powerless. Now it's the same thing like this.
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
So if at the end of the day, if the die is cast, and they want some side now pull out, they can now leave some side.
Okay, so let me do that now. Let me just say this: in any movement, you always have people who have moles, who have their own agenda, who also can be ruled by enemies. That is why Tinubu is with the North. That's part of it. So as a result of that, you can't rule that out. It is for us to be alert. Those of us who want to be free. We may not be big numbers. In many establishments, you find that only 4, 5, 6 people are the ones that will give deliverance. Look at South Africa, Mandela. So if you focus, you know what you're doing. You just need a few people to work with you. Leave others alone. Continue to move on. If they cut your leg, mend it and move on. If they slap you, whatever you can do, don't lose your focus. That is where we are, and that's what we're doing. Is that answer your question? Yes.
And can I just add a little bit to it? You know, in 1966, a lot of us were still ignorant. We didn't know their plan. We didn't see the Fulani. We knew Hausa Fulani. We didn't know there was Hausa, we didn't know there was Fulani. Yeah. Now we know the difference. We even know the difference that some are headsmen, that is, they came from outside. We now know Iswa. A lot of people didn't know them, they know now. So people's reactions are not going to be like that time. You know, that time the chief, it's not only the Yorubas that helped them, the chief helped them along when they were coming running from town. But it was out of ignorance. Now that ignorance is gone. Everybody has suffered. And I don't think there's any nation in Nigeria now, including the Hausas, who have not suffered. In fact, they were the first victims.
Of course.
They killed all the others. They took their land, changed their religion. So you cannot. I don't think anybody will ever betray any ignorance. I don't think anybody will. It was out of ignorance and that betrayal.
Yes, go on.
Yes, sir.